Hey, this is Andy Jenkins with the Oily App Podcast. This week, I'm going to bring you an incredible bit of content from Dr. Jim Bob Haggerty. Now, Dr. Jim Bob Haggerty joined the Oily App team just over a year ago, and when he first partnered up with us, we released a 2-part class on stress. That meant that more accurately, he covered the adrenals and the thyroid. Now, no worries if you don't understand the importance of any of that. You'll get a super clear, ultra understandable picture of both of them after JB breaks it down for you. All right, so here's the deal. Let's face it. No one is immune from stress. No one is exempt from it. No one's protected from it. Even a lot of times, I quote the Bible. That's my training. Even Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. Just deal with today, because this should encourage you. Tomorrow will bring enough trouble of its own. And he also said this, in this world, you will have trouble. The only thing you can do is armor up to increase your health when you face it. So we want to deal with it on a soul level. We want to deal with it on a spiritual level. We also want to deal with it on a physical level. In this episode of the podcast, I'm going to share with you the audio from Lesson 1 about the adrenals. This is straight from Dr. Jim Bob. Now, the adrenals, they're your first responders to daily stress. If you help them now, then they'll help you when you need them the most, okay? If your adrenals get out of whack, you'll feel like you're tired all day. You might find it hard to sleep at night. That is a double whammy. This teaching, it's going to help you get back into rhythm. And along the way, Jim Bob is going to mention the best oils, the best supplements for adrenal support. Now, by the way, let me tell you this. Take a look in the show notes while you're listening. There's a PDF absolutely free. If you go to oilyapp.com/stress shield, you can get it totally free, where he is going to mention the best products, and it's going to have just a breakdown of all of them right there for the adrenals. And next week, we're going to talk about the thyroid. So he's going to have it all right there in one neat PDF, full color. Download it totally free. Here's the teaching for part 1 from Dr. Jim Bob.
Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to talk about part 1 of supporting the endocrine system. Did you realize that all of the hormones in your body and every single function in your endocrine system actually starts in your brain? I know, it really surprised me too when I started to learn the physiology and the neurology behind the endocrine system and how it works. The endocrine system is very reactionary, but it has a hand in every single hormone that is released, and all of it starts in the brain. So I want to go through a couple of the steps of how the endocrine system works, but today we're going to really talk about, in this video, we're going to talk about the adrenal glands, what they do, and how we can support them, and why everyone should be supporting their adrenal glands, whether you're a young child or an elderly adult, and everything in between, all right? So in the endocrine system is run by 4 main organs. We're only really going to cover 2 in videos, but there are 4 main organs: the hypothalamus, the pituitary, the adrenal glands, and the thyroid. Those are the 4 main organs. The way that the endocrine system works and the way that the signaling works to the body is you have a signal that starts in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus, think of his name as Happy the hypothalamus, says, hey, we need to release a certain hormone for stress relief in the adrenal glands, or we need to release a hormone like estrogen in the ovaries. No matter what it is, the endocrine system starts first. So let's say Happy the hypothalamus says, hey, we need to release this hormone. So he sends a releasing factor down to Pete, the pituitary gland, and he says, hey, Pete, we need more stress hormone from the adrenal glands. Pete wakes up. He says, hey, I can do that. And Pete sends a signal down to today's topic, the adrenal gland, and says, hey, adrenal glands, we are in a stressful situation and we need you to produce more of the hormones that you produce in order to allow this person, in order to allow you and me to handle ourselves in a stressful situation and to be able to adapt the way that we're designed to adapt. So let's talk about the adrenal glands and what they do, and then we're going to talk about how to support them. So in that whole situation, though, before we even get to that, in that entire process, that's years of medical school summed up in literally just 2 minutes. But in that whole pathway, that signaling system happens in a millisecond. It happens over and over and over in a millisecond. And this system is designed to do that very quickly. The adrenal glands are designed to adapt and to respond to stressful situations very quickly. But what we do to them every single day, what ends up really happening in day-to-day life is that we get stuck in situations and we get stuck in environments and we, taking responsibility, we put ourselves into situations that cause this system to fire constantly. I mean, how many of you guys wake up to an alarm clock in stress, and you have a schedule that puts you in stress, and you have deadlines, and you got to be somewhere, and you've got all these routines, and you've got people depending on you. You've got all these different things happening that create stress on you all day long that your body has to adapt to. So this system has to adapt to all of that. Well, we're not designed for that. Your adrenal glands, your endocrine system was never designed to be in a state of constant stress all the time. And over a period of time, period of years, months, years, decades, however long it is, that system can start to break down and not perform the way that it is designed to, because we are created perfectly. Our bodies are created to handle our entire environment and to be able to respond perfectly 24/7, 365. The problem is that we put ourselves into situations that cause long-term stress that we were not designed for. All right. So the adrenal glands are two little quesadilla-shaped organs that sit over the top of the kidneys. All right. If you make it sound like food and you relate to food, most people will never forget it. So they're over the top of the kidneys and they produce certain hormones to help us in different times of stress, but they're also very key for regulating hormones. So let's talk about the adrenal glands. I'm going to give you a couple of key things to remember with each thing, and then we're going to go through different sections of support to be able to support the adrenal glands the best we can on a daily basis. And again, as we talk through different stressful things in our life, there's some things that we can change, right? Like there's some things that we are sitting in and we're stressing about that we can change, that we can literally get out of, and we can remove ourselves from that situation. But for some of us, there are other things that we can't change. There's other situations or environments or whatever that we really can't alter. So the only way to be able to make sure that we're not creating long-term damage or symptoms is to change our mind about it and to change the way that our body's responding so that it doesn't create long-term damage over time. All right. So let's talk about the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands, all right, the adrenal glands respond to stress. Now, how does that happen? Well, your body is designed to protect itself all day long. Your brain is constantly analyzing your environment and constantly taking in all of this input, constantly taking in neurological stimulus, whether it's something that you smell, something that you see, you hear, you feel, whatever it is, whatever the sensation is, your brain is constantly analyzing it to really make sure one thing is answered, one question: are we safe? As long as that question gets answered in the affirmative, like, yeah, we're safe, we're good, we're doing okay, then nothing happens and the adrenal glands do their thing and they normally just kind of coast through the day. What happens, and the reason that the adrenal glands start to have to fire more than they are designed to, is let's say during that stressful situation when the alarm clock goes off and you have this deadline and you have this schedule that you're supposed to meet. Well, when that alarm clock goes off and when your schedule starts to hit and your body starts to say, hey, we have got to get this done, you fire a part of the brain called the fight or flight system. All right. Your brain starts to go, oh my gosh, we're stressing out and we either need to run away from the stressor or we need to fight it to be able to protect ourselves. It's this really protective old part of the brain to just really make sure that we're safe. So when that happens, when that step gets triggered and when that release valve gets hit, the adrenal glands start to step in. They release a hormone, got it right here. They release a hormone called cortisol. When cortisol is released, cortisol has several different functions. The main function I want you to remember for this video is that cortisol is responsible for bringing in sugar and releasing sugar in the body. And if you don't have a really good balanced diet, if you're not getting really good complex carbs in your diet, the one place that it has to go to get it is in your muscle tissue or in the protein stores that you have in your body. Regardless, we'll get to diet in just a second. Cortisol's job is to provide you the fuel you need to either run away or fight off the stressor that's coming out. That's the main job of cortisol. There's others. So I know I'm oversimplifying it. So for those of you who are science geeks, don't throw tomatoes at me. Just know that this is the basic function and the things that are necessary for you to understand so that we can support these organs and we can get the best function that we possibly can. All right. So cortisol releases the sugar. It allows your body to get that fuel, just like releasing gasoline to an engine, so that you can start to respond to the stressor and do whatever you need to do in that situation, whether you need to run away or fight whatever that stressor is. All right. Now, cortisol, all right, cortisol is what we call a catabolic hormone. Now, what does that mean? Like, what kind of sciencey talk is that? Well, a catabolic hormone is a hormone that, if left in your system for a long period of time, will tear things down and tear things apart. It's not designed to be in your system for a long period of time. It's really designed to fire inside your system, do its job, and get out in 60 to 90 seconds or less. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes if you really stretch it out, but it's meant to only be in a really brief period of time. And it's meant to be like stress cortisol, oh, we're better. Stress cortisol, oh, we're better. But what we do, like I said earlier, is we're like, alarm clock, stress, cortisol for 10, 20, 30, 40, 60 years potentially. And we can't figure out why we start to get such different damage inside the body. Well, cortisol is not meant to stay in there that long. So cortisol can create damage over time. It can create blood sugar issues over time. So we want to make sure and support it so that it can do its job, but so that it's only in our system operating when it is necessary and not for any longer. All right. Down here, the last thing that I put on the adrenal glands and their role is regulating hormones. Inside the outer ring of the adrenal glands, the inner ring, there are 2 different hormones that the adrenal glands release. And you're going to remember these. Norepinephrine and epinephrine. They are the ones that are like shoot all this energy in, and then you team it up with the sugar that the cortisol is releasing for you to be able to have a ton of energy in order to meet this stressor head on, okay? Well, in the outer ring of your adrenal glands, because it has 2 different rings, you have different residual hormones. You have estrogen, you have testosterone, you have progesterone, you have all of these different hormones. And the reason is because the adrenal glands are a regulatory organ, and they're supposed to help regulate the hormones during your different cycles, during different times of your life and times of the month or whatever's going on, to help keep those hormones in the levels that you need them to be. So if this is the normal range here, they're not going all over the place out of bounds, right? So you can see that if that organ's not doing its job correctly, there's several things that can go wrong. There's several things that the body won't be able to regulate to allow you to be able to function on a day-to-day basis, all right? So with that being said, and understanding the basics of what those organs do, how can we support them? How can we support the adrenal glands? Because you should have 2 above each kidney. How can we support the adrenal glands in ourselves, in our children? Oh my gosh, so important. And in everybody around us, so that they can do their job, so they can help us during stress, so they can help us keep our immune system as healthy as it really should be. What can we do? Okay, well, let's go through several different situations, different categories, to give you some different tools, some daily tools, some Monday morning applicable tools that you can use to be able to really help your adrenal glands do what they're created to do. All right, let's talk about diet first. So diet, there's multiple little basic things that you can do to really support the adrenal glands. If you look at this list, number 1 is just decrease sugar in your diet. You know, there are lots of great diets out there. There are a lot of bad ones. But on basics, if we can take out more bad, add in more good, drink more water, and stress less, you're going to do pretty amazing. So if you look at this, decreasing sugar will allow the adrenal glands to do its job better. If you can regulate sugar, you're going to decrease stress. Increase protein. Takes longer to break down, and so protein is a nutrient that can give you fuel over a longer period of time. Increasing dark green leafy vegetables. I mean, grandma was right. Kale, Brussels sprouts, spinach, any dark greens, and getting good vegetables helps to provide nutrients and B vitamins we need in order to support this endocrine system. And then no artificial sweeteners. Oh my goodness. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame or high fructose corn syrup can really throw a wrench into the deal and won't allow that system to do what it's supposed to. So on a diet standpoint, those are really good steps to start with and really basic things that you can do to help the system. What about lifestyle? Well, in lifestyle, exercise is key, and movement is a nutrient just like water or calcium. Getting appropriate movement and intentional movement in to be able to healthily decrease cortisol and allow your body to utilize the excess cortisol is really key. This right here, yoga or stress relief, something to be able to allow your body to physically relieve stress and allow you to work through the different stressors better. Proper sleep. You heal and repair during sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, your adrenal glands cannot do their job, guaranteed, I promise, okay? And then the last one right here that I put on there is just a functional thing to do that I love to do is journaling. You don't have to write a whole Dear Diary journal to pass down to your generations, but taking time every day to take 10 or 15 minutes and write down different things that went on during the day or how you felt about them or what happened, and to be able to review it is a really good way to get the stressors out of here so that they're not affecting the adrenal glands here onto paper so you can process them a little bit better. What about supplements and what about essential oils from Young Living? Do we have anything to support the system? Yes, we do. We majorly do. From the supplement standpoint, we have several supplements that I love to support the endocrine system, specifically the adrenal glands. Endogize and Powergize are both herbal supplements that have essential oils infused into them to support this pathway and allow your adrenal glands a break, to give them a breather as you're handling different stressors throughout the day. Men and women can use either one, try both, see which one really works better for you. Cortisol is an amazing one. If your cortisol stays really too high and you want to be able to give the adrenal glands some nutrients to be able to help the cortisol come back into the normal ranges that it is designed to operate in, cortisol is great. You want to look at and really follow the instructions on that supplement there to make sure that you are alternating it and you're cycling it the way that you should. PD8020, another great hormone balancer that helps with the cortisol because of the pathway that it is operating in and because of the step that it's really supporting. Look at that one. And then Omegagize. If you don't have really good essential fatty acids in your body, if you don't have enough of that, it's really hard to produce or to be able to support any hormones in the body. And it's really hard to regulate daily inflammation. And so those will really get out of balance. So making sure as a foundational supplement, you have plenty of good fats like Omegagize will really help your system and that of your families. Essential oils, top of the list for supporting the adrenal glands is EndoFlex. I cannot say enough about this blend right here. Everyone, kids, elderly, women, men, everyone should use EndoFlex every single day. This is one of the number one products that are essential oils really that I recommend on a daily basis because we all could use this product right here. All right. This next one right here, Nutmeg, is also found in EndoFlex. It's a great one for the adrenal glands. Here, Peace and Calming. If you can reduce stress, you're going to support the adrenal glands. So Peace and Calming to be able to support the emotional pathways. Valor, I think I put Valor on there. Yes, Energy, any of the Feelings Kit oils. All of these oils are really great to be able to support the emotions and the stressors that you're dealing with on a daily basis. And then by association, help your adrenal glands as well. So take these, start with these, take one of these different sections and start supporting your adrenal glands today.
Next week, I'll be back with part 2 of this teaching. For the videos or the free PDF, remember, go to oilyapp.com/stretchshield. You're going to want to download the PDF and then keep it somewhere really for easy access. It lists the essential oils and the supplements that Jim Bob referenced in this teaching and the ones that he'll reference in the next teaching. It's an incredible tool for your notebook. It's great to share with family, with friends, even for some of you who are building a business team with team members, really who might need the help of, just like the title of this series is, Stress Shield. They might need a stress shield for themselves. That said, let me sign off with something Jim Bob often says. Here it is. Health is simple, but it's not easy. He's just broken it down so we can understand it. Simple. Now, easier said than done. Now the part, let's go walk it out. Until next time, enjoy, have an incredible week. I'll talk to you with part 2 next week.